What's happening, guys? This is Mike's Little Dragon Channel, and although today is Friday, it is New Comic Book Day for me. I was not able to make it to the shop on Wednesday, so I got down there this morning, picked up all my stuff. As you can see here, it's a real fat stack. Got a ton of books. I haven't even finished last week's stuff yet, but I got a 3-day weekend. No work tonight, no work Saturday or Sunday. So I'm really going to make it a point to try and make a big dent in all this stuff I've got and make a handful of videos about my thoughts on stuff I've picked up and stuff I've read. So we'll go ahead and dive right into it. This is the newest issue of Star Wars right here by Alex Segura and Phil Noto. Phil Noto is on the artwork, and he is really incredible about capturing likenesses. And Han Solo right here, very easily identifiable. Lando, looks just like Billy D. Wilson, or Billy D. Williams, I'm sorry. Luke, looks like Luke. You don't get that a lot of times in tie-in properties. Sometimes the characters don't really have any resemblance to who they're supposed to look like. I remember reading old Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics, and you couldn't tell who was who. There was really no difference between outside of hair color, Cordelia, Buffy, or Willow. They all basically look the same. And here, Phil Noto does a real good job of capturing everyone's distinct likenesses. And then we've got Age of Revelation. This is the 0 issue that starts the new big X-Men storyline, which features a alternate reality, a possible future. Choose whatever term you like. Kind of like an Age of Apocalypse type deal, where all the characters from the Marvel Universe are in very different roles and different, they look different. They have different roles than what they have right now. Heroes are now villains. Villains are now heroes. Deadpool's a full-on zombie, that type of deal. And that starts right here in this issue. And this is going to be a big line-wide event. A lot of the X-Men books, I don't know if they're going on hiatus or if they're canceled, but they are going to have other books from this timeline or this reality will be filling the gaps that those books provide, or we'll be filling those gaps for those books during this crossover. I kind of tongue twisted right there. But in any case, as you see here, begins here. This came out last week. My shop did not have any last week, so fortunately I was able to get one on reorder. Then we've got issue 2 of History, the new history of the DC Universe, the Mark Waid's attempt to put the DC Universe in some sort of order. The timeline, the chronology, what's canon, what's not canon. This is all Mark Waid's attempt to do it with a wide variety of artists contributing. Like, look at this. This is just an incredible jam poster right here. All these heroes in here. From this looks this is probably Silver Age, because there's Brother Power the Geek, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, John Stewart, the way the Legion looks right there. So this is basically the Silver Age DC Universe right here that they've captured. You've got the Kirby characters down here in the corner. But this is issue 2 came out, and I've already seen some people complaining about online about some of the decisions that Mark Waid has made in regards to some origins and some ways teams perform, specifically Cyborg's involvement with the Justice League. But that's why I enjoyed this type of stuff, but at the same time, I kind of wish that they didn't make it because it you're just trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. You're trying to make sense out of all this nonsense, and it just never works. It's a fun endeavor, yeah. And Mark Wade's definitely the person to be in charge of this and take the helm for this. But you're not going to be able to please everybody, and you're not going to be able to make perfect sense. So we can just enjoy what they give us, and then they'll give us another one in another 8 or 10 years or something like that. Then we've got issue 2 of Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Finally, this issue came out. It felt like it took forever. I was just talking about how in last week's issue of Thundercats, they had issue 5 of Captain Planet solicited, and 2 hadn't even came out yet. So finally, 2 is out. Issue number 10 of Storm. I've enjoyed this book since the beginning. It kind of got a little, I want to say it kind of got a little away. It got away from me in the middle, but over the last few issues, it's kind of started to bring me back. And they're announcing something here called Thunder War. So it'll be interesting to see what that's all about. She appears to be on Silver Surfer's surfboard right here. So I kind of liked it before all the cosmic stuff came along. I'm not sure why. They kind of got away from in the first 2 or 3 issues. They got away from the typical superhero stuff and started to swing for the fences with the cosmic stuff. But in any case, it's always a strong characterization of Storm, regardless of the setting she's in. This creative team has really nailed her and her personality. Then we've got another David Pepos book, Space Ghost Annual, right here. This is the wrap up from the first volume of Space Ghost, and this ties up all the storylines from the first volume, and then the second volume will be launching soon. So this is basically the bow tie for that, or the nice bow. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk today. Basically, Space Ghost Annual is they are putting a bow on volume 1 just in time for volume 2 to relaunch in the next month or so. So this will be a good wrap up. Then we've got Psylocke number 9 by Alyssa Wong. This book here, it hits for me, and then it doesn't grab me. It hits and does. To me, it's very inconsistent with how I feel about it. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just the character. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure how many issues. Well, it says right here to be concluded, so it looks like we only got one more issue of this, and then it's going to wrap up at 10. So all in all, I have to say it has been a pretty good run. Nothing to set the world on fire, but more often than not, very enjoyable. Silverhawks number 5 by Ed Brisson. This is another one of the Dynamite nostalgia books, and this, as Ed Brisson coming on to Silverhawks, he must have felt a tremendous amount of freedom, because this is a property that has not been really developed very much. So there was a lot of world building for him to do, which must have felt pretty good from a creative standpoint, where you're not hamstrung by tons and tons of continuity. And I've enjoyed what he's done with this so far. It's been a very fun read. Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone. Last issue was the one with the horror style mutant, and this one seems to be kind of like a one-off. Looks like they're just going to the county fair, so that's always fun. I always enjoy the issues where the characters have downtime. It gives us a chance to explore them more than the ones where they're on missions or on adventures and it's just go, go, go. So I'm always a big fan of the downtime issues. Absolute Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman. Obviously, I can't say anything else about this book that I haven't said by this point. It's my favorite of the Absolute books. Emma Frost White Queen #2. Like I mentioned in the first issue when I read this book is set during a time period before, as you'll see right here, it said the contents of this series take place sometime after X-Men 138. So this is a book that is set when Emma is still a villain before she became an X-Men, and she's in the Hellfire Club as an evil person. But it's always a good time to look at that, to revisit that era, because that definitely is a time when I've seen this mentioned that a lot of villains nowadays are on redemption arcs. And so with this book here, there is no redemption arc. This is just visiting Emma when she was a flat out villain and getting her start in the Hellfire Club. So it's always good to see some bad guys instead of just the like the anti-heroes or the redemption story stuff. Then we've got Gwenpool #3 right here. I actually did not get #2 pulled for me, so I am going to have to wait to read this until I get #2, because right now I just have #1. The whole point of this book has been, it has kind of been, at least the first issue anyway, has been kind of like a commentary on dark versions of characters and grim universes, and Gwen Stacy meeting Gwen Poole, because a lot of people may not realize that Gwen Poole is not Gwen Stacy. Gwen Poole is named Gwendolyn Poole. So although they look the same, they are not the same character. And this has just been kind of like I said, a commentary on grim and gritty characters, which is what you would expect from a Gwen Poole book, fourth wall breaking, etc. Then Deadpool Wolverine. This is a Benjamin Percy book. This has just been a fun book, action fest since issue 1. Benjamin Percy wrote a ton of Wolverine issues, so he has that character down pat, and he also has shown that he has Deadpool down pat. So he's been working real good together, almost a I don't want to say buddy comedy, like a buddy cop comedy, but these two characters, we've seen the chemistry they can have in the movie. So Benjamin Percy manages to capture a little bit of that here in this book. Batman Hush 2. Oh man, yeah, I picked this up. It's against better judgment. I picked this up. I'm not picking it up because I enjoy it. I'm kind of picking it up to. It's like if you drive past a car wreck, and you're rubbernecking and you're looking at the car wreck. You can't help yourself, and that's how I feel about Batman Hush 2. This whole thing has been a train wreck, and I'm just here to see how bad the train wreck gets, and I'm just waiting for the Matt Fraction, Jorge Jimenez Batman book to start, and just ready for this to wrap up. But this is only the first volume. They're doing a second volume of Hush 2 once these first 6 issues wrap up. So this clearly has not went the way that DC thought it was going to. Exquisite Courses #3. This is another James Tynion book. It also looks like this is, it says here, written by Pornsak. I can't pronounce that without butchering it. So I thought James Tynion was doing most of the heavy lifting on this book, and it looks like the other gentleman is the one who has top credits, who is an incredible writer in himself. I read he wrote a 12-issue miniseries called The Good Asian, which was basically a detective noir book with a Asian private investigator set during that 1940s, 1940s, 50s era of San Francisco. So, and that was an incredible book. But this Exquisite Corpses, it's been good as well. Basically, the whole gist of it is a certain amount of families run the United States from behind the curtain, and these families meet once every X amount of years to, and they submit a champion. It's a fight to the death, and whoever's champion wins, that family gets control of the United States for another 10 years or whatever the time period is. But it's been a pretty fun book. Tinian is an idea machine. That dude cranks out so many concepts and books. This right here fits right in to his type of wheelhouse. And it's not an ongoing, it's clearly just going to be like a 10 issue or something like that. So basically it's just, a mini, but still fun nevertheless. And then the last book I have here is Superman number 28. I'm not a regular reader of Superman, but however, this has the Legion of superheroes in there, and I am a sucker for the Legion. Even though this is the Dark Legion, I'll take what I can get. So hopefully one day I always say that it's kind of messed up that we got the Dark Legion before we got the proper Legion of superheroes, but what are you gonna do? So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 books this week. That is a little higher than normal. I think next week's going to be really small. I think the guy at my shop was saying next week is a 5th week, so that it's going to be a smaller week, and that's probably why this week was really big. So I got a lot of work to do, but I hope you guys got a chance to get down to your shop, pick your stuff up. I know I always say this every week. Go pick your stuff up. If you can't make it down there, or if you got to cancel your box, let your shop owner know. They'll really appreciate it. Because if you're not going to go down there, they'll keep pulling stuff for you, and they got money tied up in you, and that's not cool. It's so tough nowadays that no one wants to have a bunch of money tied up in something that they're not going to be able to make a profit off of, or be able to sell, whatever. So until next time, you guys take care of yourself. Talk to you later. Bye bye.